campfire, kumbaya. I just don't think it might, I don't think it's gonna happen. I'd love it. I think it'd be awesome. One of my favorite songs. But anyway, but it would be fun. And I do, but I think that we are here to see the world forgiven. And we are here to understand that it's our judgment that makes it seem bad. Like Shakespeare said, it's thinking that makes it so. It's not the situation. I often go back to the belief that, we can all in this room share some experience, and some people are going to deem it as good, and some are going to say it was horrible. So it's up to us to allow the Holy Spirit to help us interpret it or see it correctly. So it's, I read this quote and I love it. It says, "It's not easy to find happiness in ourselves, and it's not possible to find it elsewhere." So it ain't an easy journey, if that's why there's not a whole lot of avatars and enlightened beings on the planet, because it's not an easy path. But I do have great hope and faith and confidence in our ability to wake up. I do believe that that's possible. I don't think it was we're exempt from that gift. I think this grace is here for all of us. It's just a decision and a practice that we can all choose to make. Recover from our wounds, let go of our grievances and judgments. And so it's, we have to also, the lesson number 4, it says, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. What's the Course say? Question every belief and value that we hold. Every experience in our life has been orchestrated to teach us something we need to know to move forward. And so we just don't beat ourselves up for the past. We've all screwed up. We've all made mistakes. Maybe 10 minutes ago you made a mistake. It's okay. But it's up to us to really, that's how we heal. Question every belief and value that we hold. So for example, the Course in Miracles says that the ego speaks first and loudest. So we're so used to responding. We're so used to reacting instead of taking that pause, taking that breath, and choose again, which is the miracle. I must have decided wrongly, the Course said, because I'm not at peace, but I can choose otherwise. If I'm not at peace, I'm listening to the voice of the ego or judgment or programming instead of the voice of love. So then it also goes on to admit to God, ourselves, and another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. And I think that is so powerful too, is to be rigorously honest and to be able to be in a group and share our shortcomings in a safe place. And I know that, for example, this women's group that Julie Considine has been leading has been a miracle. There's such raw, open-hearted sharing and no judgment, and people are healing, and they're really overcoming so much. And then we had a party, we went and watched a movie and a potluck at her house, and the group is really bonding. So this opening ourselves up, admitting our shortcomings and not being judged for it or blamed or attacked, but just say, well, that's cool. Don't give it a second thought, no matter what. That's really open-hearted sharing. And that's nothing, wouldn't it be awesome if someone could admit anything and not be judged for it? And that's what we're here to do. And I'm sure that this group will open itself up to that as well. And so we get to the point through this that we're entirely ready to have Spirit remove all these defects of character. Well, I remember one of my favorite quotes is, "Let go or be dragged." And it's kind of like, even though it sucks, okay, and it's we don't like a certain aspect, of whatever of ourself, it's kind of like it is familiar, and familiarity brings some sort of comfort, okay, even though it's not so hot, okay? So it's up to us to say, no, I'm ready. I am so ready to have Spirit remove all my defects or all my programs and all my belief systems, all my judgments. And when we do that, it's amazing. That's when we can lift that veil and become more light. There's a time when there came a time when the risk to remain tied in the bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. And I thought that was such a beautiful quote. It's kind of like that tightness, it gets to the point where, nah, I don't want to hold on to this anymore. And I've said this quote, I learned it years and years ago. We're so programmed to behave a certain way based on what other people will think of it. What other people think of me is none of my business. It's really none of my business. And I've learned, believe me, I have tried hard on this one, no matter what I do, no matter how I try to do certain things, some people just don't like it, and some people just don't like me. And that's okay. I mean, I still don't love it. I haven't really embraced that totally, to be honest, but I'm way better than I used to. And because you know what, you can't please everybody, no matter what you do. So you better just please yourself, because you're the only one who's going to do it. And that's a big, hard lesson. I think loving ourselves is the main goal of this gig here on planet Earth. It's here to be able to, and if I love myself, I don't really need other people's approval or opinions. Be here and totally enjoy and relish in the beauty of your own soul, and not expectant of other people's opinions about you to be a certain way. It's a futile effort. It won't work. So, we just have to humbly ask Spirit to remove our shortcomings, okay? Lesson 7. Well, the Course in Miracles there again says, go to the altar of Spirit, the altar within, and humbly place our shortcomings, our judgments, our fears, our phobias on that altar. And that altar is like the light shining down on it, which melts away the darkness. And there's only light left. There's only love left. But we can't do it alone. I really don't. And one thing that I think is so good, the 12 Steps talks about the God of our understanding, some sort of spirit that we can accept and deal with. And so it's not about necessarily following a certain religion or a faith, but really just knowing that there is a power. I won't even say out here, power within us. It's just waiting for us to tap into it and tune into it and use it. But it's our free will. And so just moving forward here, make a list of all persons you've harmed and became willing to make amends. And who's first on that list? Yourself. And so it's about really, no one, I've read this over the years, no one beats us up as hard as we beat ourselves up. Would you agree with that? Yeah. The self-judgment and the just criticizing ourselves and looking in the mirror and saying, or just, I was so bad 8 years ago and what have you. And, we're so critical of ourselves, but we give other people a break to a degree far greater than we give ourselves. So, make that list of, clean the slate. I think it's about getting squeaky clean, really just get rid of all the stuff. And, people can be more forgiving than we can imagine, but we have to forgive ourselves first. Let go of what's bitter and move on. It's kind of like, I think at night before you go to bed, take that moral inventory. Who have I not forgiven today? Make yourself first. Cut the cord, release it to Spirit, and move on. And that's how we heal. Every time this stuff comes up, the Course in Miracles says we do one of 3 things. We stuff it, okay? That's one thing. Oh, yeah, get back in there. Or we project it. And it's like, ooh, I don't want to look at that. It's your fault that I'm upset and angry. That's number 2. Or number 3, though, is really where I think the healing takes place, is when this stuff comes up, instead of projection or stuffing, Holy Spirit, I surrender this to you. I place this in your hands. And when we do that, we've made that decision for a miracle. And if it comes up 2 minutes later, just continue to let it go. Don't dwell on it. Don't analyze it. Just keep giving it to Spirit, and eventually it just disappears. So we, let the Holy Spirit be our guide. Make your amends. Really continue to take that evaluation, that moral inventory. And I think a good time to do that is in the evening. Just sort of evaluate your day. Because every day you're reborn. Every moment you're reborn, which is amazing. So even if you were a schmuck 2 minutes ago, you're a new person now. And that's good news. I think that's awesome. Because, it's recognizing this mind chatter and this judgment that we continue to have, and just say, no, and turn the other way. Ask the Holy Spirit to be our guide. And then I love the last two here. And it is, we seek through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understand Him or her, praying only for knowledge of Spirit's will for us and the power to carry that out. That's powerful. That's not, that is what we're seeking. God's will, praying only for the knowledge of God's will. That was the whole thing with the WWJD. What would Jesus do? What would love do in this situation? Thy will be done. Ask for the strength and the courage to carry that out. So but I don't think we can do it alone. I really don't. I think we need support. And I see these gestures of connection and kindness so much here on an ongoing basis. People genuinely caring and interested in the well-being of each other. And it's up to us to build on that and to take those steps of really, thy will be done. And of course, this is where, back to our mission statement, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps or spiritual practice, we carry this message to anyone who is addicted to anything, okay? And to practice these principles in all our affairs. So now that we've had this spiritual awakening, we are the light of the world. So where these steps are just another, and they've helped millions and millions and millions of people over the years. So there's something to these. They're inspired, just like the Course in Miracles, just like religions of the world, philosophies, music, anything that can lift your spirit and make you feel lighter is a good thing. So this is just one of many offerings that we have here. We have a great offerings throughout the week. And this may be something like you're so jazzed about and you're going to come and this is it. And then you might go see Dr. Bob on Monday or Mary and do some yoga or whatever through the week, do some drumming. It's all designed to help us become community, to wake up, to heal, to be happy and whole. And so, I want you to consider this because I'm looking forward to being there. I'm not sure I'll make it this week because I've got a prior engagement, but I'm planning to participate in the group. And I told Joan, I said, I don't want to lead the group. I want to participate, just like with the women's group. Julie says, I've done these groups for 40 years, and I've never had the minister of the church come to the group. And I said, well, I'm pretty, I need the help. So obviously, you've probably got some more healed ministers other places, or maybe not willing. But as I always say, I don't claim to be more righteous, more healed than anyone in this room. We're all on our path and our journey. I think it would be an ego if I played up like, oh, I'm so holy. I am holy, and so are each and every one of you guys. And I, in my humility is my healing, not my arrogance. So, don't expect me. If you're looking for someone without flaws and defects, you probably want to go somewhere else. But good luck with that too, because just saying. But maybe, let me know, maybe I'll join you. But a few of these, I found these quotes and I thought they were powerful. And Carrie Fisher, God bless her, I love that woman. And Carrie Fisher was Debbie Reynolds' daughter, for those of you, and she had addictions all her life and demons, but just a wonderful, deep woman, and of course Princess Leia. And but she says, sometimes you can only find heaven by slowly backing away from hell. So it's like, you just don't go down that, two roads diverged into the woods, and I took the one less traveled, and that's made all the difference. Back away from that road to hell and take that less traveled path down to heaven. And I love this. People often say that motivation doesn't last. Neither does bathing. That's why we recommend it. That's why we recommend it, both of them daily. Okay, so that's so bathing, and it's just like going to the gym. When believe it or not, I used to love. I would not miss a day at the gym. Now I can't do it. It's like the last thing. It's weird. I mean, most 50 years of my life, that's all I did was work out. Go figure. But anyway, when you go, you reap the benefits of going to the gym every day. Well, same thing with your spiritual practice or anything else. What we put our energy and intention in, and bathing. If you didn't bathe for 6 months, it wouldn't be such a great thing. So, especially for people around you. And also remember from Emerson, he said, what lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. And I think, I love that quote because, we get so caught up in the menial stuff that really has no meaning. All that really matters, as Terry said, one of my favorite songs, well, he didn't write it, but he sung it beautifully, but it's all that really matters in the end is how we love. And that's it. None of the rest of the stuff matters a bit, truly. In the blip of eternity, what does it matter? Nothing. And we give it so much energy and power. So I'd like to Georgia O'Keeffe, I love this quote too. She says, I've been absolutely terrified every moment of my life, but it's never kept me from doing a single thing I wanted to do. And I think that, we are all in fear. That's we're addicted to fear. And the fear of, fear is lack of love. Fear is depending on our own strength rather than the strength of spirit. So we really, but it doesn't have to run our lives. It doesn't have to rule us. Let love rule. Let love be our guide. And never say anything about ourselves that we don't want to come true. Power of the spoken words. Speak positive about yourself. I love myself. I'm grateful. Affirm, even when you don't. We talked about Louise Hay several weeks ago. She was big into the affirmations. Varying emotion of confidence and faith, and knowing that these affirmations and these things that we're saying, the universe hears, okay? Send love out there. And it's Armand and Angelina who've been here. One of their songs, love is a boomerang. You throw it out and it comes back. Well, guess what? So does fear. Let love be our boomerang. And I'll just close by this simple statement, and that is, the only journey is the one within. And so it is. Namaste.